there. So let's get to this week's Pac-12 Prime Picks. We did very well last week. 4 correct, 1 incorrect. Coastal Carolina, they covered by half a point. Oregon State, I thought San Jose State would give them more of a battle, but Oregon State said, no, excuse me, we're really, really good. We're not going to allow this to just all of a sudden be an upset game or a week 1 trap game, which is what I heard on some other media outlets and radio shows. But all the other ones, Utah, yeah, they covered. Yeah, Stanford, they covered as well. So things went well for the Pac-12 Prime Picks in week 1. Am I too bold this week? Maybe. Let's start with the first game that I talked about to lead today's show. Nebraska is down to plus 2.5 at Colorado. Now, this line moved at one point in time to 3.5, as in Colorado favored by 3.5. That's curious. All these lines brought to you by FanDuel, by the way. That line got out to 3.5. That's after it was Nebraska minus 9.5 before the season. Then Colorado wins. It came down to Colorado as a 2.5 point underdog. And then I suspect the public said, oh, we love Colorado. I'm on the hype train. I'm all on board with Deion. I love Deion, everything like that. And they moved the line back out to Colorado minus 3.5, or all the way out, I should say, to Colorado minus 3.5. And now we have moved it back. Late money tends to be sharp money. So I think the sharps are coming in saying this is an overreaction to week 1. This is a Colorado team that is not going to replicate its success in every single facet as they did on the road against TCU, which has a very porous defense. And I am taking Nebraska. I think they're winning the game outright, plus 2.5 at Colorado. That's one of my best bets for the week. Oklahoma State, minus 3.5 at Arizona State. I really don't get why this line is so small. Maybe it's because Oklahoma State is on the road, but here's what I'm looking at. A true freshman quarterback in Jaden Rashada starting just his second game, a team around him that was overall unimpressive aside from his weapons, which we knew were good, and they are, Xavier Guillory, Elijah Badger, Jalen Conyers, and the like. But outside of that, it didn't show you a whole heck of a lot. Kenny Dillingham, his second game as a head coach, and Mike Gundy, his, second decade as a head coach? He's been there a long time. I think overall team composition, I've got quarterback questions at Oklahoma State, but I've got him in Arizona State as well because Rashada is still going to be prone to make some freshman mistakes. This is his first game against a Power 5 school. I think Oklahoma State wins that game 31-17, and I think they cover that 3.5. That's one of 3 road favorites. I might be out of my mind this week. That's one of 3 road favorites I think are covering in Pac-12 games this week. Let's talk about Oregon. JK, I pulled them out at the last second because, boy, they toss tortillas at Texas Tech, don't they? Yeah, that's their tradition before kickoff because once long ago, someone covering a game in Lubbock said, there's nothing here but a tortilla factory. And then they started throwing tortillas at kickoff. So that's kind of what they do. I had them in. I think Oregon covers, but that's not one of my 5 picks here. So let's get to my other road favorites. Utah, minus 8 at Baylor. I think Utah is a really good football team. Did you know that Baylor's lost 5 consecutive football games, including their last 2 to Group of 5 programs, and 4 of those losses have been by double digits. 8 is a lot of points to swallow. It is. But if Cam Rising ends up playing in that game, all bets are off. Give me the Utes comfortably. I think they win that game by a score of 31-20. That's if Cam Rising doesn't play. If Cam Rising does play, Utes could go mid to upper 30s. That's. I like Utah a lot. I think Baylor is down in a bad way at the moment. Without their starting quarterback against this Utah defense, forget it. Utah minus 8. UCLA, I think their defensive front is going to be too dominant for San Diego State, who has not impressed me so far through a couple of weeks. The Bruins, who I am down on compared to some others. Josh Pate thinks they're going to the Pac-12 title game. I think he's out of his mind, but I love their defensive front. In another universe in which perhaps DTR is back for an 8th season of college football, it would have been his 6th, but would have felt like his 18th. If he had been back, I would like UCLA a lot more because I love their defensive line. I think they're going to be too much. I think San Diego State really struggles to score in this game, and UCLA puts it together, covers over 2 touchdowns on the road. I think that number's that big for a reason. 14.5, I'm okay with it. 31-14, final score right there. And that brings us to my favorite pick of the week. Do I like Cal on the money line? I do. I think they're winning 31-27. So do I love them plus 6.5? Bet your rear end I do. Because 6.5 is a lot of points to give to a team that I think is capable of scoring them, that I think is in a position to be able to win this game and at the very least hang around. Last time Peyton Thorne came out west, didn't go so great. Just throwing it out there. Didn't go so great. Michigan State, they kind of got drubbed as the number 11 team in the country by the Huskies. Were the Huskies better than Cal? Yes, of course. Of course they were. Though, by the way, that same Cal team that, or that same Washington team that beat Peyton Thorne so badly, only won 28-21 at Cal last year. Just saying. Just saying. Would I love this line even more if it were over a touchdown? Yes. But then I would question the money line component. I think Cal's winning, so I think you take them plus 6.5 at the very least. I expect them to be able to hang around. So, just to recap for the week. Brought to you by FanDuel. The lines, I think, are your best bets across the Pac-12 going into week 2. Nebraska plus 2.5. Oklahoma State minus 3.5. Cal plus 6.5. Utah minus 8. And UCLA minus 14.5. See if I can keep the good times rolling. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.